Good afternoon, everyone. This is Melvin York, and you're tuning in to Gardening with Daddy Pete. And we sure are glad that you decided to join us today. We've got something that's kind of special here. People's tried for years. Some people knows about this. Some people don't know. And we've started a new segment, and there'll be two or three segments that goes with this, and it's called Grocery Store Gardening. This first one will be twice as nice. Uh, Over the years, we use so much of the fresh vegetables, and then we prepare them and use them for meals, and then we throw the scraps away. They either go to the garbage. Some of us are lucky enough to go to the compost bin, uh, but probably 75 or greater percent just gets thrown away, and without the benefit of providing you with a second or third round of that same vegetable. Now, I know you think I'm crazy, but in today's time, when everything has just about doubled in price, wouldn't it be nice to go ahead and get double for your money when it comes to vegetables? And there's other things too, and we're going to talk about this in these upcoming segments. Now, this is something that you could do if you have children. This will be a great science experiment, a great learning experience for the children. If you have grandchildren, pull them in, do this when they're with you. That would be great. And because they're going to get to watch something grow, and it's going to be recycled, reused, renewed vegetables. And that's something else. Take, for instance, celery. We're going to start out with celery today. Well, people uses a lot of celery in different stews. They use it in soups. They use it in cooking a lot. People like to eat celery just raw. Some people take celery and they put different spreads in it, like peanut butter, pimento cheese, cottage cheese. But celery is a pretty all-around great vegetable. I do particularly like celery. And so this is a neat part about growing the celery. As you're using it up, if you'll leave the bottom part of the root part, the end of the stalk, leave it about at least an inch of the 3/4 to an inch of the stalks on, and cut them straight across. Take that with the root system down and go ahead and put it in some warm water. Do not completely cover the whole root base. Leave the top part uncovered. You could set it in a glass, clear glass, put it up in a windowsill somewhere where it gets at least 6 hours a day, and make sure that it doesn't run out of water. And what you're going to find in the next week or so, you're going to see that it's going to start rooting, and it will also, within a few weeks or more after that, really begin to put on the roots. At that time, if it's cold weather and it's not time for celery to be outside in your garden or outside in the pot, go ahead and put it in a pot inside. And again, make sure that you keep the potting mix moist. Give it 6 to 7 hours of sun a day, and just watch it take off. Now, when it does, celery is a cool weather crop. So it doesn't like frost, but it does like cool weather. So when we get past the part of frost, you could go ahead and transplant it into your garden. Now, as the stalks start coming up, to get 3 to 4 inches high. If you need some celery, you want some for some seasoning or just to eat, go ahead and clip off some of those 3 to 4 inch tall stalks. And what that's going to do is encourage it to put on more shoots and grow more. If you don't want to do that, you want to wait until the whole period of growth, that's fine too, to makes a complete stalk again. But remember this, when you pull it up, do the same procedure again. That same root ball, you can replant and go through this same process again. You can take it back to the water, root it back, let it start going, and replant again. I thought that was kind of neat. So not only could you get use out of it one time, you can get use out of it twice. So there's some homegrown celery. You didn't have to buy the seeds. You didn't have to wait on the seeds to germinate. it's ready to go. Some of these techniques we're talking about, if we plan them just right, even though we're doing it now as your first time and experimenting with it, you can get it to where it grows in segments. And when it's ready to go in the garden, you can have that actually timed out pretty close. Another thing that you didn't think about, again, when you're cutting up, maybe you're making those smoothies, maybe you're making, maybe you're making your favorite pot roast, your stews, your soups, is carrots. Carrots you can do the same thing with. Leave about a half inch on the top of that carrot, stick it with the cut side down, and you'll be amazed. It won't be long till the tops will start putting out tops, and then you will see roots starting to form. That time, it doesn't need to go into the ground. Carrots can handle a little bit more cool weather than the celery can. Again, look that up and you can see that. Another one that works well, believe it or not, is the beet tops. When you've cut the greens off that, if you've used the beet, cut that top, do it again, it'll work too. And here's one that really surprised me, even though I've seen them grow out in bags and all, but onions. When you cut the top off the onion, the root part of the onion, if you'll leave about anywhere from a half inch to, and a half inch is plenty. And if you will go ahead and put that down into water, you will notice that in the center, or if there's two centers like they are in some, you'll start seeing onion sprouts start coming out. At that time, you're ready to go into a pot, or you're ready to put that into the garden. Onions, again, are something that can be planted earlier, can be planted later. But you'll notice that most of the times you get 2 to 3, sometimes even 4 onions back to do that with. So I just thought that was amazing how that we spend our money, but yet we throw away our next crop that we could grow ourselves. Instead of planting seeds or going buying plants, we can do this. I know we use a lot of onions over, especially cold weather. You seem to use a lot more of these than you would maybe in warmer weather. When it is cold, you're making more stews, you're making more pot roast, more casseroles, you're using more vegetables in a lot of your soups. But take those used parts of your vegetables instead of throwing them away, what you would normally throw away in the garbage or the compost bin, and put it back to work for you, growing you that same vegetable right back. Sometimes, like the onion case, be more than one. There's other things you can do too. Another one's a good example is a potato. A potato is one, if you peel it and leave enough meat on that potato where the eye is, you'll see the eye. You can go ahead and you don't have to put it in water. You can actually, in some moist potting soil, put it down and give it a chance. You can cover the whole eye fine if you like too lightly. But again, make sure that it does stay moist. It's in a warm environment. It gets some sun every day, but keep it moist, but not over wet. So there's potatoes. The nice part about that is when it comes time for most people's potatoes to start coming up after they've planted them, you can take yours to the garden. They're already rooted, they're already potted, they're ready to go, or you can leave them in pots or grow bags in the cold winter months and then take them on out, and you'll be ahead of the game there. But again, your potatoes cost you nothing. You took it off the peel of a potato that you've already bought. And so that's kind of neat that we can do these with what I call our veggie scraps. One reason we call this the grocery store garden is because everything we're talking about, we pick up at the grocery store. We're not going to the farm and garden store. We're not going over picking things up at the produce market. And if you do, that still counts the same. But I call it grocery store garden because there's more things that we can pick up in the grocery store that you can use that 9 times out of 10 you won't pick up maybe at just a regular produce market. So you will be surprised, I think, if you tune in and you listen, of just how much that you can cut your grocery bill, how much your children can learn. You can learn, experiment, and even if you do lucky enough, like myself, to have grandchildren, it's teaching them something. and they will totally, just like yourself, be excited when you watch that scrap start to grow it, and then within a few months produce food that you can go again with. Potato, again, is something that you could use again. Take the skin off after you've grown this one, go again. So it's kind of an endless cycle. And what this is really called is vegetative propagation is what we're doing here. So that's kind of really neat. But we're getting everything basically free. We've just got to put a little work in it. And we're not putting any more work in this than what we would if we started out with the seed. Only we don't have the cost of the seed. We don't have to go get the seed. And we can still continue this to carry on. So we know what the mother plant looks like because we've had it in our hands. And that will be the variety that it would be, because we're actually, when we're propagating this one, we're actually cloning that plant. It would seem to be like. So I hope that this gives you, spars you with a little idea on how to be frugal, how to produce healthy vegetables for your family, how easy it is to do so. It takes a little time, a little space, a little effort, but it was just like my grandfather said, anything worth doing is worth doing right. So I totally agree with him. Do it right the first time and you don't have to redo it. So, but anytime we can save money, anytime we can produce a healthy food for our family, it's a win-win. And even more so, if you can involve your kids or your grandkids into it, it is such a learning experience for them. Well, I do want to thank you for tuning in to our podcast here at Daddy Pete's. And our goal is that we do help you garden. Our slogan is, and we do mean this from the bottom of our heart, is we help you grow. And most definitely, we do want to help you grow. If you get a chance, go to our website. You can hear some more of these podcasts. It's daddypete's.com. While you're there, you can actually click on ask us a question, send us a comment. We would love to hear from you. If there's something that you'd like to hear us cover, we'll most definitely get to that for you. Also, we have a monthly newsletter. That newsletter comes out. We email it to you. We don't do anything with your email, so you can get that. Just click on it. We'll make sure you get that. Also, you can look at a lot of our different products that helps you go and grow the things that we're doing here. One of the mixes that I would use for everything we're doing here, and pretty well general for what we're going to do with the rest of these segments, would be your potting mix, unless that I take something different. So potting mix is a general potting mix. It works well for this. It gives you enough drainage, but yet will hold enough moisture to make sure you're successful in what we're doing here. Well, until next time, it's been a joy being here with you guys. And it's Labor Day weekend, so I hope everyone stays safe and happy gardening.